Everyone sees the game. The lights, the moments, the headlines, that's the part they show you. But that's not the whole story. Because behind every win, there's something else. Pressure, decisions, sacrifice, things you don't hear about, things you're not supposed to see. I started noticing it. The gaps, the questions no one was asking, the stories no one was telling. Not because they weren't there, but because no one was looking. So I did. I stopped chasing just the highlights, and I started chasing the truth. The moments in between, the voices underneath, the stories behind the sport. Because what's real isn't always what's visible. We don't want you to hear, we want you to listen. Welcome into yet another episode of the Behind the Sports Show, episode 8 in season 2 of BTS. I am your host, Giovanna Scroggins, coming to you from my hometown, Dallas, Texas. And this episode is fire. We are talking to somebody that has basically ties to football on the officiating and the referee side, and her story, her journey, getting to where she is, and then also championing this new exciting sport of flag football that is taking over right now is super cool. And the conversation that we have definitely sheds a light and gives you some cool insider stuff about her career. Outside of that, I don't know if y'all clocked the game, but Michigan did take down UConn in the men's final championship game in NCAA college basketball. I did not pick Michigan winning. Thought UConn had it in the bag, but what a way to end March Madness. I mean, the month of March is so special to me, like I said, because it's my birthday, but March Madness was electric this year, so I hope I got to catch that game. But if you didn't, there you go. Also, this is my note. Cooper Flagg should be Rookie of the Year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. There should be a period after that statement. Well, let me stop yapping and give y'all this amazing episode. So without further ado, here we go. All right, everyone, welcome into yet another exciting episode of the Behind the Sports Show. Sitting down with this amazing woman next to me, and I don't even want to give away what her story is by like giving her a proper introduction and a proper title, because you got to just hear it for yourself. I want to welcome into the episode Desiree Abrams. Des, how are you?
I'm well. How about yourselves? Good to be here.
Yeah, doing well. Thank you for asking. Okay, let's start. I always say this. Let's start at the very beginning of your career. Where did it click for you? And again, I didn't introduce exactly what she does because you'll kind of guess as you know she tries to tell her story. But where did it click for you? How did you get introduced into the sports industry? I know you grew up playing sports yourself and then kind of transitioned into what you do now. But tell me, where did it click? Where did it begin?
So I started, of course, in sports as a kid, right? I did swimming, I did tennis, I did basketball. I played flag football maybe like once or twice. And then I went to Florida A&M University, walked onto the basketball team, and started to explore other sports. Found flag football and knew that I had a passion early on for football. My father tried out for a few NFL teams. We had season tickets to the then Redskins and now Commanders. You know, it was a football household. And I knew I really, really wanted to play. I found out that there was a women's tackle league in existence while I was in grad school. And I was like, that there makes sense. I'm going to play. I'm going to play. I went and tried out. I started off as tight end and became defensive end. And I can honestly say, like, it became one of the best sports adventures ever in my life. I played for 10 years, won a couple of championships, got on a couple of all-star teams. And then I knew it was time for a transition. And my general manager, the DC Divas, Rich Daniels, he suggested that I attend this NFL football officiating clinic. And I was like, why would I go to an officiating clinic? I despise officials. They're terrible. They get in the way. They cause so much drama in our games. Why would I participate in that? He's like, well, we need, a little bit of an edge. We need some inside knowledge on what the rules are like, and it could possibly help our team. I'm a team player, right? So I'm like, all right, I'll go ahead. I'll do it. Take one for the team. So I went to this 8-week class, and each week we met and discussed what officials do, what their areas of responsibilities are, what the names of the officials are on the field, and it just opened up an entirely new world and perspective as to how much dedication officials put into the game to keep us entertained each week, to make sure we, as teams that are clashing, don't tear each other up and actually work the game, actually play the game as it was meant to be. The way we dive into rules is just spectacular. And I knew from then on that was going to be my next love, my transition into the sport. That is when it clicked.
Wow. Brings up so many different questions for me, but I want to start with asking that 8-week class. People don't often, I feel like, appreciate what officials put in to then become knowledgeable and go on the path and bring you the calls every Sunday or wherever you're watching football and whatever league you're watching it in. Did you expect like the workload and the learning of rules and like memorizing all that stuff? How was that process for you, and did you expect it to be that hard when you walked into it?
Um, no. I mean, so as a player, right, you feel like you know the rules, right? I got this. I've been playing for years. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly how things are supposed to flow. Not true at all. As soon as you get into that rule book and really start to be instructed on how the game is supposed to operate from an administrative side, not just the natural reaction side, the administrative side, it's a whole new world that opens up to you to see how you have to operate as a professional. I can't be a fan when I'm on the field, right? Like, although I've been in many spaces to see many amazing games, some crazy athletic plays, I can't sit and watch those and be in awe. I have particular responsibilities based on my position on the field and what I can actually watch. And the great thing is, officials get to collectively put that all together because we are all watching different things and then make a ruling that tells the story to the audience. So it definitely wasn't natural to stop watching the ball in the air and actually focusing on the players and what they do. It's a transition and it takes time.
You brought up this one thing about like not being a fan and actually watching players and kind of knowing your place on the field now due to your job. But you also mentioned like being a part of some like crazy environments and crazy games. Is there one game that you remember? Maybe it was like your first game officially like working as an NFL replay official, but is there your favorite memory of a game when you were officiating?
So I'm an NFL replay assistant in addition to being a college on-field football official. So I work short wing as a line judge or headline judge. I also work high school tackle football, and I also work flag football all the way from youth up to international. Um, there have been many games that have been fantastic. I mean, the Team USA versus Team Mexico games are always thrillers, whether those are men or women's. Um, the college games that I'm in, you see some amazing talent. The women's flag football collegiate sphere is just on an emergency. You see so many great plays and great female athletes in a different role than you've traditionally seen them in. And that is amazing. And of course, NFL games, it's top tier talent from across the world that are playing in this sphere of gladiators. You see some amazing catches and plays, and it's hard to not react, as a fan and a lover of football. But thank goodness for those games, I'm in the booth, and so my reaction is a little bit shielded. While I'm on the field, got to be straight faced.
That makes sense. Can you break down exactly your position when you said in the beginning, like the line judge and things like that? For those that are unaware, can you break down what that means and where you are on the field when you are officiating these games?
Sure. So football, whether it's flag or tackle, has several positions on the field. We're all collectively called officials, but there's a name for each official on the field. Most people are familiar with the referee. We're not all referees. There's only one referee on the field, and that's the person that wears the white cap, that makes the announcements, that is the face of the crew, right? You'll know that when you go to particular game sites and you're like, oh, that's so and so's crew, that's John Smith's crew, that's such and such, because that white hat is the face, right? They're the one that you see on TV the most often. Then either next to them or to the other side of them, just behind the defensive line, is the umpire. This is transitioned in high school and in college to the center judge position. You'll have an umpire and center judge. They assist the referee with watching the offensive and defensive line, with protecting the quarterback, with all the holds, roughing the passers, all those things that you're used to seeing. Then on the wings, you've got two officials on each sideline, four in total, two short wings, the line judge and headline judge. They're responsible for also watching the line, the snap. They'll give you their false starts, your illegal shifts, illegal motions, all those kind of pre-snap penalties that you see that are normally 5-yarders. Then you'll also have your deep officials, your deep wings, side judge and field judge. They're the ones that are watching the receivers and DBs. So you're getting the pass interference calls, the holding calls, any things that are face masks during a run. You also get those from the short wings as well. They're partners. They all work together. And in the middle of this field, you have the back judge. They serve in like they're the referee in their defensive backfield. They get to see a lot. The field is open to them. They help with a lot of formation calls and work with their deep wing partners as well on pass interference calls. They're often the ones that you'll see giving the touchdown signal in the background. So do a lot of work. And just as an aside, the officials you don't see that are working in the booth are the replay official and the replay assistant. They're the one helping with all the admin, making sure the spot of the ball is right, the yard line, the hash, making sure the clock is running appropriately or stopped when it's supposed to. Also making sure penalties are enforced correctly. And if there's a questionable play where we need to go to replay and video, that's when they go to work. They're extra on it, but they're always in the background helping the crew, supporting them, making sure we're getting it right. The folks on the field are really, really good. They know that same information too. We're just the backup.
It makes sense now, because I feel like often when us as fans or people that appreciate the sport of football, we watch it and we often see that one referee and kind of associated all of the calls that go on in a game to that one person because he or she is the face, right? But it is interesting because there's a village behind it, and it takes a village to kind of put all those things together. I want to talk about your time as a player with the DC Divas and the Women's Football League, because actually one of my first jobs out of college was working with a media network and somehow got involved with the DC Divas and, putting out their content, and also, the Women's Football League that you were a part of. And I think it was something that I never knew existed, probably similar to you before you found out about it. And when I was aware that it was an actual league, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. So talk to me about your experience there at the DC Divas and what that league is doing.
Yeah, so I played for two teams. I played for the DC Divas and I played for the Atlanta Explosion. Explosion is no longer in existence, but man, it's just some fun and amazing times with some extremely talented, tough, gritty, powerful women. So DC Divas have been in existence, gosh, for at least 25 years and are technically the most winningest team in DC. If you take a look at it, Vash, I know that face. Technically the most winningest team in DC with more titles than any other sport in the District of Columbia. but they are still up and running. I still go and support as I can. Of course, I still got my DC Divas jacket. I've got a couple of rings from them and from the Atlanta Explosion as well. The league that I work with now as an official is the WNFC, so the Women's National Football Conference. And we have 16 teams across the country, sponsored by Adidas and Dove, have partnerships with Adele and formerly with Dick's, and stream live on Victory Plus each week. We're actually in season right now, and you'll see some of the best women's tackle football anywhere on the planet right there. We have folks from all over the country, uh, all over the world, actually recruiting the same as the NFL does to make sure that we're putting out a good product. Women's tackle football has been in existence for about 70 years. So, not many people know that because just like basketball, women's basketball, we've got to push ourselves along, kind of fight for the recognition and for the viewership until we kind of explode on scene the same way that the WNBA and women's collegiate and high school flag football is doing now. We're on pace though, so I think it's going to be a good thing, and women's collegiate flag is only going to help with that.
Yeah, what do you feel like is the biggest like barrier when it comes to the WNFC just not being as known and as like accessible to people?
You know, in general, I think now in today's society, we have so many things that we can pay attention to, right? We have choices all the time of where we can go and what we can watch and what we can be involved in. For sports fans, for fans of women's sports, for fans of sports, period, I think that it simply is just what comes across your feed and what you're introduced to. I mean, most people that are introduced to our sport, they either see it because somebody's playing in their backyard or they get invited on a date or they get free tickets because their kid wants to go to something and then suddenly they're hooked. It's as simple as you have to be aware that this is so good. I think that the WNBA went through the same thing. Like at least at their level for basketball, there was the Olympics, so that offered like another platform to be presented onto. I think that's going to happen now with the projection for LA 28, with flag football now being the Olympics. It's going to expose women and the talent that they have within this sport at a completely different level. The World Games has helped with that. The ones recently in Alabama and in China, which was composed of only women's flag, and the international IFAF tournaments and all that USA football and NFL flag has been doing to highlight the women's game. I think it's all going to turn over and in and expose leagues like the WNFC and talent that they have for tackle, which we're traditionally not used to seeing women in those kind of roles. It's going to expose it in a positive light.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because putting we often talk about elevating sports, right? Elevating sports, and this year alone has been the year that people are have eyes on women's sports. So capitalizing on the movement and on the momentum of people watching the people paying attention to other sports, women's hockey, flag football, all that kind of stuff. Speaking of flag football, let's talk about that for a second because it is, I don't even think booming. Booming feels like an understatement right now of the sport of flag football. Based on what you've seen so far from an officiating standpoint, why do you think the sport is something that the world has like fixated onto? Like, is there a rhyme or reason as to why, or do you think it's just another thing that is exciting to watch, and football is such a big part of that and kind of carrying the torch over into flag football?
It is. I think the success has been multifaceted. I mean, you've got, of course, amazing talent, right? Like you think of it as the skill players that are on the field, right? So all of the receivers and DBs, a little bit of linebacker, certainly running backs and quarterbacks, all of those skill positions get another opportunity to highlight their skill set. This time, without the shroud of the helmet on, so you can actually see their expressions. I think that visual stimulation has really helped catapult it into just a different kind of platform where people can appreciate this level of type of football. Um, Not only is it non-contact, which there's been, an interesting movement towards having less contact in sports. Although flag football, although it's non-contact, there is contact. Like it happens, right? Just like basketball's
You still don't
non-contact.
get tackled.
It still happens, but flag football, to tackle somebody, you pull their flag. So we're not actually taking them down to the ground. Going to the ground happens from time to time, but that's not the primary focus. It's on skill set and finesse and movement and your twitchiness. It has all to do with that. Plus, you get to see the excitement. The way the guys play is just as fierce as if they were doing tackle, but they don't have to use the brute strength. They still show their athleticism. And the way the women play is it's a brand new set of athleticism. You'll have girls doing OBJ type catches, but also you'll see the way that they celebrate, which is completely different yet exciting and fantastic to see at the same time. Plus, you have not only the women who are supporting it, men are heavily supporting it as well. They're bigging up the girls that do the same thing, right? It's fantastic in a sport where both genders can watch and support each other and have that same connection and understanding of how the game is played. You also have the NFL that is definitely boosting up the support of women in flag. The NFL flag had an entire females in flag program that introduced it into high schools. There's been a major push for those legislations that introduced it into colleges, right? The NAIA just had its 5th year now, about to go into the 6th year of championships at the collegiate level. NCAA just started last year. More and more conferences are opening up. You'll see, huge Nebraska, announcements where coaches are now going there, being paid a living wage. It's just so much support from many, many different avenues that's bringing it to the forefront. You shouldn't be able to watch an NFL game now without some sort of flag adjacent announcement or advertisement. That is what helps pushing us forward. It is the systems that are already in place that are now recognizing how powerful this sport is that are propelling it forward.
Yeah, and I loved when you mentioned the aspect of the helmet. That is very fascinating because not it's almost like us watching it, you feel more connected to them because you can see their face, and then from vice versa, from an athlete and a player, like they're taking in surroundings completely different than how they take in surroundings if they were playing with a helmet on. So that is very interesting.
I think that the NFL changed the platform from their Pro Bowl to the players having helmets and not being able to see their reaction, and them not playing as hard, to the flag football format where the kids can see their stars, they can see their interaction with them, right? You can tell the guys are having fun while actually playing hard at the same time. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a marketing plot a little bit because, they wanted to get people more involved with the Pro Bowl games because it was, people have their controversy about Pro Bowl games and things like that. But yeah, that's so fascinating to me. Another thing that you said it kind of made me realize is because there has been the support of the NFL mainly having that support behind flag football is huge in terms of people getting excited and people being aware of the sport. But the fact that at the collegiate level, they're opening up, they're recruiting athletes nowadays, like this has turned into another legit sport at these universities. And it kind of makes me think, like, are we gonna see a March Madness natty type of environment in the
I
coming
can't
years
wait.
for
I
flag
hope so.
football?
I
Like,
hope so. We have to. We have to. There's no reason why there shouldn't be. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the tournament this year was crazy. I hope you were watching it, right? With watching Staley and watching Gino and watching that interaction,
crazy.
right? Watching UCLA do its thing. It's an amazing series. And so those same names, you can expect that they're going to be powerhouses for flag football as soon as it incorporates into that. As soon as the NCAA, they've already made it an emerging sport. Once they make it a championship sport, guaranteed that March Madness kind of feel, although it may be like April or May Madness, yeah, it's going to be there because we do run concurrently. We do run at the same time.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that because after March, we can roll right on into yet another exciting.
Right, just take a break and roll back in. All right, back
exactly. That's what the people want to see, right?
That's,
we want
give the people what they want. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, I mean, you want the emotions that it gives you. You want. I mean, I saw a TikTok video of this one guy, and it was like, I don't care if you have a problem with athletes or people involved in the sports industry, but there is nothing better than watching young people achieve greatness and achieve their dream. And I think that's what makes college sports a little more special because the pros, like, y'all there for a reason, you know, like you got there for a reason, you got it your whole career. But for college, like half these kids on now from the men's standpoint, Michigan and UCLA and some of those girls probably are going to be in the league. That's why they won, right? But for a lot of these kids, like they're not, this is it for them. So there's something about that. And I would be, that would be amazing if we could have another like championship type of environment for flag football. And I think it's to come for sure.
It's on the way for sure. No doubt about that. We're going to revisit this in a couple of years and be like, I told you, who are you going for? What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Yeah, we going to have our brackets and we're going to, it's going to be great.
We got to make sure we get box seats now. Let's get seats now.
Buy the suite now. That is like, do you have a favorite like league? Well, can you, I guess you can't really even say that, but if you could like choose the differences in officiating and doing kind of assistance in each league, what are the differences? And I know from like a rule book standpoint, there's clear differences, but going a little bit more deeper than that, what are the main differences from league to league and the ones that you are involved in?
Oh man, I mean, so you have obviously the youth level, right? So you've got kids from as little as like 5, 6 years old where they're wearing flags and their flags are longer than they are. And so they're dragging on the ground, but like they get it. They get the sport. It's amazing how quickly they pick up what exactly they're supposed to do. We admire the coaches at that level because they're herding cats, basically trying to get them to go in one particular direction. But even they show glimpses of greatness on the field, you know, as kids getting into the sport, building confidence, resilience, you know, crying when things don't go their way, feeling excitement, building these bonds with their fellow teammates. That's an amazing part of the game to sit and watch. You know, the surroundings aren't necessarily fancy and, you know, the accommodations aren't always as well as you would like. They're definitely nothing in comparison to the D1 and the pro level, but it's still a beautiful moment. Same when you move into high school, those same kind of energies. The towns that you work in, whether small or big, and whether football has 200 in the stands or 2,000 to 20,000. Some of these high schools in Texas, Texas high school football is insane. Like there can be a lot of pressure there because you know that you are, as an official, working hard to develop your craft. And usually if you're working high school, you're at like an intermediate level, right? So you know some things, but you're not like perfect. And there's always things to work on. You try to do the best that you can to know that these kids are putting their heart and soul into this moment. And in general, that's kind of the path that you're working towards an official. You try to do your best for them because you are truly serving the game. When you get to the collegiate level, a little bit more seriousness, a little bit more buttoned up because there are millions that are invested into how this program wins and how they do their things. Now you have coaches whose livelihood is tied to how you call the game, right? A little bit more pressure. Still fun, still great athleticism, but there's a switch that turns on to how you study the rules, how you do film review, how you work out yourself, because I got to keep up with these athletes, right? They're forever in the 18 to 21 range. I keep getting older and still got to be at the same pace with them while being consistent in my calls and how the rules change, how we want the game to be called. All of that adjusts. So it's a pivot there. And then at the professional level, I mean, you simply have to be on it. One wrong call you could be sitting at home on Sunday instead of, in the box or on the field working with them. There's so much at stake. But on the lighter side, there is the entertainment aspect. So as much as we know that your career is centered around it, there's also the entertainment part that allows you to have a little bit of fun in it. And this is where flag, I think, is going to explode, because that entertainment aspect in flag is being played up like no other. Again, you get to see the reactions, you get to feel it. It's just a different kind of way to be. I can honestly say I enjoy them all. And anybody who were to step into officiating, you would enjoy it as well. There are ups and downs, highs and lows, moments where you wish you would have done better, like, I wish I got that call back, just like you wish you had caught that pass. All those feelings and emotions are still integrated. I think the most interesting thing about being an official, regardless of what level you work, is that you are asked to be perfect from the time you step onto the field to the end of that game. No other position within that place has that same expectation. Coaches can make wrong calls, players can miss passes. They're forgiven immediately after the next play. Officials, it seems to hang or loom with us for a period of time. And it's that interesting pursuit of perfection that makes this advocation so interesting, knowing that you'll never achieve it, but the ride to try to get there is amazing.
That is so true, because going down in infamy is kind of what I think about. Like, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, like,
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about Cowboys.
yeah, but Des did catch it.
Being from DC, like there's a little bit of rivalry history.
Oh, I can only imagine. But that is so true, because officials, and you always hear about it days and days, years and years, decades and decades after. Like, there's the 30 for 30s in the ESPN film specials that just talk about, and back in 1942, and this call, like, they changed the trajectory of history. And that is something that is never taken lightly by any official, I'm sure, but from a fan standpoint, and even from an athlete standpoint, because we see kind of the not disrespect sometimes the tendencies athletes have towards referees and officials. But those calls get remembered constantly if you don't reach up to perfection.
Right.
So it's very, very, very fascinating to think about.
There's like 140 plays per average on a game, right?
Yeah.
If an official gets 138 of those right, where's the celebration for that? I'm just saying, like, I'm pretty good if I got 138 out of 140, and yet your catch percentage is what? But I don't talk to you about that. Is all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. No, that is a good point, because I would take the. I mean, if I shot 8 for 10, like, that's still, I'm not a mathematician, but that percentage is still pretty high.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good.
Yeah, can you blame me? Not gonna be perfect now.
For sure. And that's what I'm saying. Like, officials are asked to be perfect, but players aren't necessarily. So it's an interesting relationship, and most of us have it on the field, right? We're constantly talking to each other. We want to keep players out of trouble. Like, I don't want to call a foul. I just want to start the clock, throw up touchdowns, and then go home. Like, I just want to let y'all play. But if you do something that affects the game, we're instructed to call it. Like, right. And we didn't make those rules, right? We didn't make them. The players and the coaches did. They designed the rule book to be like, this is what we want called. You've asked us to take on that charge. We accepted the role. We accepted the challenge. That's what we're here to do. And yeah, sometimes you may like it. I don't like that you held during this play, and I really didn't want to call it, but here we are. So for the players, like, if you're not expected to be perfect, and you can miss a pass, allow us to miss a call, or you perhaps not like a call at the same time, and we still continue in the course of the game. My job primarily is to protect you, because that is my first concern. Safety is the first concern, and then to administer the game in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's when you think about it too at the core, like every single league, every single level has the people in place to be able to make these calls. Like maybe before we had technology and before we had the great minds and the actual curriculum, if you will, to educate the next generation of officials, the next generations of people in this industry, um, trust that and trust the processes and the systems that are already in place. Because again, like you said, safety number one priority, but because you have the technology, because you have a village calling these calls and making these plays and replaying it and making sure it looks good. Oh, and guess what? We're not gonna we're not gonna count the yards anymore. The camera up there is gonna do it for us.
Totally possible. Yeah.
But you gotta trust those things. And again, for us as fans, that can be also a hard pill to swallow, because that could cost your team from winning or losing, and that's the reality of it. But it is what it is. Okay, I believe it is time in our episode for one of my favorite parts, our insider secret. As we wrap up an amazing conversation with Des, we are going to do our insider secret. Now, a quick refresher. Insider secret was something that we did back in season 1 of the Behind the Sports Show, but we are bringing it back. And basically, an insider secret is just a moment, a piece of advice, a story that you haven't told a lot of people, or that you wish you would have told your younger self or yourself before you got into your industry, whatever. It can be anything. So, Des, what is your insider secret?
I want to be like, okay, come here. No, my insider secret. Um, we talked a lot about the explosion of flag football, right? It's not just coming, like it's here, and it's on a whirlwind, boy. I tell you, it's a big deal. So it's already in youth all across the country, many leagues. Take a look at NFL flag. It's coming to the Olympics. Look at USA Football. USA Football houses Team USA, men's and women's. They also have the junior teams. If you want to play, there's opportunities there. It's coming into high schools. It's coming into elementary schools. It's definitely emerging in college. And guess what? There's a pro league on the way from the NFL. Players and officials, if you want to play, now's your opportunity. Get in there. Get in there. There's games all across the country, all across the world. IFAF, International Federation of American Football, has over 50 federations that are ready to work with you. Officials, all these games, they're not enough of us. We need you. We need more of you. If you've ever wanted to become an official, now is the time. And flag is the best place to learn. You'll get snap after snap after snap after snap. And we have the platform to teach you, to train you. If you want to get in, now's the time. Now's the time. If you ever had a thought, a moment, hey, I could do that or I could do better than that, come on and join us. We got training every week, guaranteed. Get in here. That's the insider secret. There's more room than ever. Join wherever you feel that you can fit in. There's a role.
I think that might have been one of our best insider secrets, honestly, that I've heard. Well, you heard it right here. You might have to see me on the field. Got to stretch and get some things going. But
I'm saying everybody should do at least once. I got a packet for you. I got a flag and a whistle. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me and having a conversation. Before we go officially, can you tell us where we can find you, how we can keep in touch with you, and how we can support all the things that you're doing?
Yeah, please reach out to me on IG, Desiree.S.Abrams. And yeah, DM me and let's connect. Tell you whatever you want to know about rule sets, regardless of whatever it is. I promise you, I've worked almost all of them. And if you're interested in officiating, definitely let's hook you up.
Love it. We might have to bring Des back on the show when football season kind of gets closer, if she's not as busy with her day jobs. But again, thank you so much for being on. It was such a great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Look forward to the next time.
I want to thank Des again for coming on the show. It was so amazing hearing her story and her journey, getting through adversity, overcoming things, and then also now being a champion for the sport of flag football. As always, if you're not following the show on Instagram and TikTok, it is at Behind the Sports Show. There you can find all of our content, more tidbits about our guest, and a couple stuff about the future and what is to come. Episodes drop every single Tuesday, 5 o'clock Central Time. Every single Tuesday, we're bringing you more Behind the Sports Show, more incredible guests to talk to. As always, again, I'm your host, Giovanna Scroggins. You can follow me at Giovanna Scroggins on Instagram and TikTok as well. Until next time, keep enjoying, keep celebrating, and keep being curious about what happens behind the sport.